Bienvenidos a Ticket to Life. Me llamo Enriqueta, pero mis amigos y mi familia me llaman Enriqueta, pero en inglés es Henrie. Translation, welcome to Ticket to Life, and my name is Henrie, but my friends and family call me Henrie because it is my nickname. It is really Henrietta, in case you are a new listener. Welcome, welcome. I hope I didn't throw too many people off by starting my podcast in Espanol. But if I did, guess what? It's my second language, and I'm proud of it. May not speak it as well as I wish I did. And you know how they say, or what they say, if you don't use it, you might lose it. So, how's everyone doing today since our last meeting? Have any of you heard of all the negative news lately? That's an understatement, right? It's all over the place. Well, we won't be talking about that today. And it's not that I am trying to be blind to all the news in the world and negative stuff in the world. I know it's out there, but I don't have to let it control my life or just wonder, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? No es bueno. Not as good for you. You know my answer to everything. If something's going on, I pray about it. And you should try it if you've never tried it. Prayer can just make you feel better. And again, all this is out of my control, which bad news is most of the time out of our control. So pray and move on. Leave it in God's hands. He's got it. He'll take care of it. Might not like the answer, but he's got it. We will get to the good news in a bit. And today's going to be a different kind of podcast. I'm going to be talking about different things that people are into. And one of the things is those Labubus. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. I just wanted to say thank you to a friend of a friend who is a therapist. And I will honestly tell you, if you ever hear or read my descriptions to the podcast for each podcast, I know that I butcher many words that are not used in my everyday vocabulary when recording. I will try my best, but I have to ask you, if you have ever read my description, or in the future, if you read the descriptions, or you pay attention to the title of the show, and you see that a word that is important to the podcast, and that, there's certain words that's the title. That's what people want to look for, and that's how they find this certain podcast. But if you see it and that particular word for that podcast, and you notice that it is misspelled, I repeat, do not hesitate to correct me in a text or on the description. You can send me a text, or you can send me an email to tickettolife022@gmail.com and correct me. I am not going to get my feelings hurt. I am not a fan of misspelled words. I am telling you right now. If I see something misspelled, or sometimes I think something is misspelled, I will check it. Now, if you're wondering what the misspelled word was that I have corrected, you may never even know, because I don't think I can share it with you. Anyway, thank you to the therapist friend for mentioning the correct spelling of that word. I know there's going to be someone out there that's like, I wonder what it was. And they're going to go over the 180 some odd podcasts looking for a misspelled word. But I was able, even if it's an old podcast, I can go in there and change the title or the description. And you know what? I'll save you the trouble. I'll tell you what the word was. It was a few episodes back, and it was on the vagus nerve. And not the vagus nerve, VEGUS nerve, the VAGUS nerve. Pretty close to it, but not really. And I misspelled it. I was pronouncing it correctly, I believe. I even think in the podcast, I spell it VEGUS, and I'm not going to go back and re-edit that whole podcast. But anyway, if you, it's corrected. So if you go back to try to look for it, you're going to find the correct spelling, which is VAGUS nerve. And that was a really good, in my opinion, a very good podcast. But could you imagine if we didn't correct spelling? What our books would look like? Or when we're scrolling on the internet. And trust me, I do not need to be more confused with misspelled words because that just would not work very well for me. I will try. I will try my best to spell words properly, look them up. And, I'm pretty sure I looked at it several times before I submitted it. But, it is what it is. It's corrected. And I want to thank my friend of a friend's therapist for correcting that. She said it was a great podcast, but she said, did you know that she misspelled? And I'm like, thank you for telling me. Anyway, I try to do research on whatever my topics are. And usually I don't do a whole lot, enough to hopefully make your curiosity think, I'm going to look into that because it is interesting. Now, if you when I'm doing this podcast and when you talk to me, I know I'm a person that talks as though I'm in a race. This is I don't talk fast just for the podcast. That is just how I speak. I'm a very fast talker, and I like to call it the Gilmore talk. If you've ever watched Gilmore Girls, you will know what I'm talking about. Now, I think that is why I like that show so much, because they hardly ever took a breath when they spoke. And for me, it was easy to keep up. And for others, not so much, because it was too fast. It's kind of watching the, what's that show? I don't watch it. The people that was criticizing people. The View. I have seen it before, like when it first came out with Barbara Walters. So that was many moons ago, but that one was overwhelming to have all those women speaking at the same time. But yes, and I think that's when you hear me talking fast, I try to slow down, but it just doesn't work for me. Now, we also listen to Father Mike Schmitz on the Ascension and Hallow app. And he's another fast talker. And I think, again, this helps when someone speaks fast. It helps my mind not wander off. I think I'm more focused on keeping up with the speech pattern, that they're so fast. So for me, it does help me from thinking of what I'm going to eat next. Because if you're talking slow, I'm thinking about a snack to keep me up. That's just who I am. But anyway, I will be. I can tell you I'm not going to talk fast, but I can try. But it's not really going to work. I would be lying to you if I said I'm going to slow down on my talking. And I know one more thing, and then we'll get to Labubu. Just wondering about the people if you're just wondering about people who talk fast. Sometimes you can't get things in when you want to say something. Of course, I'm more of a listener to people. I do listen. So when I do have a fast talker talking to me in person and I want to say something, there's just no way I can even dive in or interrupt. That's all that comes out of my mouth. Because they're talking so fast and there's no breath for me to interrupt. So a lot of times if someone's continuously talking and I just keep interrupting them, that's why. I know it's rude, but that's just me. But anyway, one more thing I did want to tell you is there's a word for people who talk fast. It is tachylalia. Now, I did look that up, and I did spell it correctly. Tachylalia. Tachylalia. And it means excessive rapid speech. So see, that means if that's in the dictionary, they should have my picture next to it. I used to always say that about people when I was trying to describe a certain person. I would say they need to have a picture of them by that word in the dictionary. And now I don't even think people use dictionaries. Do people even use hard or soft covered dictionary books anymore? Like, do we? I mean, or do we just do it, Webster online? I don't know. Because I'm going to be honest, I probably look all the words up online now. But apparently I did not look up vagus nerve very well. Vagus nerve. Believe it or not, I used to enjoy when I was younger, like I'm going to say early teens. This is just a fun fact about Henrie. I used to love flipping through the dictionary and learning new words and meanings. I know. Nerd alert. So, okay, enough about me. On to Ticket to Life. And again, how are you doing? If you're exhausted from that first part of this podcast, I apologize. But here, how many of you have heard of Labubu? If you don't even have to have kids to have this thing. It's a little monster-looking stuffed toy or animal. I don't know what it is. And they have different expressions. And yes, they are as popular as Beanie Babies were in the 90s. Now, these things are so stinking popular that one sold for at some auction. I'm not sure. This person must not have had anything better to do with their money. But this, let's see, it was a doll that included 3 wise Labubu. It sold at Sotheby's auction. I'm probably not pronouncing that either. For $28,000 in May. $28,000. And then there was another one that sold for $31,250 at a Chinese auction house. Now, I'm sorry. No stuffed animal is worth that much money to me. They say that these are as popular as the Beanie Babies, like I said, but for some reason, the reason people are drawn to them is because of celebrity endorsements and because they are being seen on TikTok and other social media. People are putting them on eBay. My church needs stained glass windows. If someone wants to donate money to that, just send me an email and I'll give you my church's address and you can send them a check. Anyway, but it's crazy that this little thing is become popular. And if you've never seen them and you're going to go to your computer or your Google or wherever, phone, these Labubus are the trend is just spreading like crazy. And again, I don't understand why. I mean, they're okay, but I don't think I myself don't think they're very cute. But anyway, they said because of social media now, the algorithms like TikTok and live streams, that's why they're being compared to Beanie Babies. Opposed to Beanie Babies, you just called your friend and said, they've got Beanie Babies, and you would run to the store and get them. And some of you don't even know what a Beanie Baby is. Those were Thai Toy Company, had these cute little stuffed animals. And yes, I still have some. And they were just different animals. And they would have a little saying, or they would be named, and then there was a little poem on there. But anyway, I don't know. So anyway, if you are interested in getting a Labubu, apparently they're real hard to get. And the word doesn't really mean anything. I looked up, so does it mean anything? And it said no. The word itself doesn't mean anything. So they were created by a Hong Kong artist, Cassie Lung. So good for them. They made some Labubus, but apparently there's a fake Labubu out there called Lafufu. So if you're thinking about getting a Labubu, make sure that you just make sure that you have plenty of money. And apparently they have like little keychains. And well, this is a crazy thing. In shop in California, there were some thieves and they stole over $7,000 worth of these little Labubus. And they're not very big, but they make some keychains too. In Los Angeles, the store, they said they broke in and they were shocked. They were gone. So the store urged people, if you see them out there, they're ours. Please, we want our Labubus. So I don't. Maybe they'll put a reward out for their Labubu. I'm not sure. I don't think we or my kids were, I think actually the parents back in the day, we were more into the cute Beanie Babies. I would say, look what I got you. And they'd go, thanks. So, but anyway, I think that's kind of funny to think that people are in love with a Labubu. Now, if someone wants to send me a Labubu, you can, and then I'll sell it, and then I'll give the proceeds to my church. I don't know. Now, let's move on to some other toys that people are into right now. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of Crybaby by Pop Mart, and these are collectible little vinyl dolls, figures, and they're crying. That's you can Google this. They're quite humorous in my opinion, but it's deep emotions and the healing power of crying, letting people know that it's okay to cry. I don't know why I find these a little bothersome. I don't need to know that it's okay to cry. If I'm going to cry, I'm crying. I do not need a reminder. Trust me, I've become very sentimental in my age. But these are some other things that, you're going to love this, especially you older people. When I say older, in your 30s, maybe 40s, Pokemon cards are making a big comeback. Pokemon and their merchandise, and you can, if you have some very, it's like back in the day, I don't know if they still do that, collect baseball cards and football cards. So the Pokemon cards are back, and you can find them I heard out on the street that you can actually buy packages of Pokemon cards at Costco. But apparently they go really fast. But yeah, Costco and Crybaby series. I don't know, people. I just was happy having my little Thumbelina doll and watching her. You pulled a string and she moved, a newborn Thumbelina. How many of you have seen that? I still have mine, and she still moves. I will record that and put that on Instagram so you can see my newborn Thumbelina. Of course, her hair looks like it has seen better days, but I want to say I was older when my mom got that for me because I really wanted it. I'm going to say I may have been in 4th or 5th grade, but back in the day, girls would play with Barbies up until 6th or 7th grade. I remember I was not the only one. We would get together and play with our Barbies. But things have changed, I know. But of course, Fortnite is still around, and all the Nintendo Switch. That's fun if you're coordinated. I'm not coordinated. When they used to have that, what was it called? Was it GarageBand? Or that's what I record on. It was a Nintendo game with a guitar. Well, I don't remember what it was, but I stunk at that. I mean, stunk at it. But a lot for kids with sensory, they have sensory kits for kids who have sensory disorder. I think you've heard of this. This is where sometimes it can be, it's also called SPD, sensory processing disorder. But anyway, so they have things for kids who do have this. Some kids, like my granddaughter, didn't like certain fabrics, the way they felt on her body, and just and certain things like probably what I have. But anyway, so it's interesting that they are gearing and seeing the needs of some kids and what they need to have. Of course, they also have, this is fun, but I don't know how many parents would do this, cardboard box crafts. I guess you get a cardboard box and make a craft out of it. But Nintendo again, and I think that things like hands on and not the screen, getting away from the screen, just getting away from it. And in a little bit, I'll tell you about what some of my educator friends said about the no phones in the classroom in Texas. What's going on with that? Anyway, Legos. Oh, geez, Legos have been around forever. But these are just some things that, I don't know, I think that are so good for kids to have, and even a Labubu. Something, I guess you play with them. I mean, I would play with my stuffed animals. So I'm thinking that's what you would do. And I'm not, again, that crybaby, I'm not sure about it. I'm not knocking it, but I'm not sure what that does. But anyway, these are some of the things that kids are playing with and messing with. And I know this is kind of a weird topic I went with, but I just started seeing so much about these Labubus, and I think I just like saying the name Labubu. But anyway, I thought, well, you know what? Let's see what I can find out on it, because they are an interesting thing, and maybe they're comforting. Because, some people find comfort in stuffed animals, even adults, but they would never say that. You hear about the adult thumb sucker. And if you've never heard that, yes, it exists. And no, I do not suck my thumb. I was not a thumb sucker. But yeah, so, sometimes maybe if we find comfort within ourselves, maybe you should just do it. Just don't let anyone see you, because they might think you have a problem, even though I know you don't. You're just comforting yourself. But anyway, if you have a Labubu, post a picture. I'd love to see it on my Facebook page. I think that people are just needing something, and I guess people just need to spend their money on things. I'm really trying to be better about not spending money, especially on things I don't need. Our rule in the house is, especially in the kitchen, if you get something for the kitchen, something has to go. So you buy something, make sure we have room for it, and something has to go. But anyway, those are the only few things. Of course, iPads and phones for kids. But I do have to share it with you. I asked my group of educators because I was curious how the phone thing was going, because I'm just curious, is it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Well, just to let you know, it's a good thing. I think it's great. They think it's great. And one of my friends told me that what she has heard, because she works in the admin building, she said that she had heard in one of the high schools that kids were actually talking now. I think I told you about that reel I saw, and that they were actually having a conversation about just stuff. The kids were talking. And the other one said, hold on, I have several. I am scrolling on my phone right now. I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to look for all these texts. Well, one did say, which I thought was funny. She says, I'm not getting 500 texts from my kids during the day. So, but also another one told me that she heard in the high school that kids were actually playing card games and not gambling, like the war or, I don't know, Go Fish. Do kids know how to play those card games? If they do, I think that's awesome. And that they were actually talking in classes. And one did say that she had subbed to help a class out, and she didn't work in the she wasn't a teacher. She's in a different building in administration. This is another teacher. And she said last year when she subbed, she did notice that the kids didn't even talk to each other. They were all on their phones after, the teacher did instruction, which I think that was interesting. But she said this other one, I know, back and forth, I don't want to give them their names. But anyway, she did say that that the teachers were saying that the kids were talking, and I think it's just so great. And one of the other ones did say that her daughter said, yeah, kids are bringing Walkmans. Do they even make Walkmans? I guess that's not what it's really Walkman, the pronunciation people would say. But no, I didn't know they still made them. I guess we should find out. But one counselor did tell me that, yes, they do still make them. They actually still make Walkmans, or their parents' Walkmans. That's interesting. Huh. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going off in my own world. But anyway, she did say that one of the kids was having a really hard time not having their phone. And she said she did feel as though it was, again, an addiction for many of the kids, which, yes, I have podcasts because I know their addictions. People don't believe that. That's the way they perceive life, is with having a cell phone. That's how they live. That's how they function with social skills, is their phone. She did say one student was feeling anxious. And he said, I don't have very many friends, and my anxiety is really bad. I didn't even know I had anxiety till the new law was in effect of no phones. And of course, just me being me, I wasn't being smart or anything, but I said, well, perhaps he needs to carry a worry stone in his pocket. I know that's kind of a silly thing, but I would try to help him do, I don't know. Well, no, can they have worry stones in class or be in his pocket? But that's what cell phones have done to our kids, and it breaks my heart. I have heard that there are other states, not just Texas, that I guess I should look that up for you, what other states have this, but I think it's great. I can look that up real quick while we are chatting. But it has been known that this can help kids improve with their education. And I think that's the good thing with that. I mean, their performance and paying attention. And just in case you're wondering if your state has this, I got the list for you. It's Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Florida, Georgia, not Hawaii. I'm saying saying them in alphabetical order because I remember them in alphabetical order. Okay, Georgia, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia. I think that is great. That's a lot of states. You go states. And a lot of parents aren't that crazy about it too. They feel as though, the kids aren't going to be that safe, and they really feel their kids need to have their phones with them, but I think they're going to be okay. This does reduce a lot of distraction for the students and the teachers. They don't have to be saying, put your phone down, not now, and actually studies have shown it enhances mental health. Is that awesome or what? And decreases in behavior problems. So it's a win for everyone. So anyway, I'm running out of time here. This is Henrie. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have a Labubu, love your Labubu. And please go find your blessings. And don't forget, you are very important to me and to everyone else. And I will be praying for you. Until next week, thank you for listening.